Another college football season has come and gone, so it's time to turn our attention to the 2025 NFL Draft. So with this video, I wanted to highlight some of my favorite college football players entering the draft, some of which have higher and more NFL potential than others, but they are still really fun football players and overall good football players that I wanted to spend time highlighting and breaking down. So without any further ado, let's jump in and get into it. We start with Matthew Golden, who was with us at the University of Houston for 2 years before transferring to Texas, where he was also a dynamite returner with the Cougars as well. But he's been making plays like this throughout his entire career. We see the release off the line, the acceleration through the stem, and then the hand-eye coordination and body control to make the adjustment and come down inbounds. And then we get a better look at it here from the end zone view. Go up, finish the catch, come down, really nice play. Up next is Ole Miss's Trey Harris, another receiver who was a personal favorite of mine when he transferred from Louisiana Tech 2 years ago, and has now become one of college football's best receivers. His combination of size, strength, and speed should help him find success on Sundays sooner rather than later, and we get a good example of that here against Kentucky, with him catching the slant, readjusting, unlocking those long strides to finish for a touchdown. Despite being limited to 8 games this past season due to injury, Harris still surpassed his 2023 totals in receptions and yards and was 1 touchdown shy of the number he scored in 2023, finishing his career with more than 3,000 yards as one of college football's most productive wideouts. Our third and final receiver is Iowa State's Jaden Higgins. I was a huge fan of Higgins' game when he decided to hit the portal from Eastern Kentucky 2 years ago, and it's easy to see why I thought he was a bona fide FBS player in his 2 years at Iowa State. We see suddenness, we see ball skills, the ability to adjust and finish through an adjustment, all things we saw at Eastern Kentucky that have translated well to the Power 5 level and should help him find success on Sundays. Now naturally, we have to talk about this tight end class with it being as deep as it is, and for me, my guy is Texas Tech's Jalen Conyers. He was actually my number 1 ranked tight end when he left Arizona State in the portal when projecting them out to our system and our offense at Houston, and it's really easy to see why. He's a bigger body with great functional athleticism, really good movement skills. We're going to get a good example of it here with him charging through the stem, getting upfield, getting vertical, locating the ball, making the adjustment, finishing through the adjustment. Great play, really athletic. Now I know I said a one-play snapshot, but when we're talking about tight ends, we have to talk about who they are in the run game. And I do think Conyers is capable of providing positive contributions, and we're going to see why. He was tasked with a variety of blocks, whether on the move, in the box, as a wing, and sometimes as an offset back. But again, we see him get square, keep his hips engaged, latch on, finish, and drive through the block, help spring a big touchdown run. That was really impressive, and it's not uncommon to see multiple reps like that in his game. Moving to the offensive line, we have UConn offensive tackle Chase Lund, who's been a personal favorite of mine for 2 years. Now, this tweet has a little bit of a misunderstanding. It's supposed to be 3 post-snap penalties, but he's been charged with just 11 total penalties across a little more than 3,000 offensive snaps per PFF, which is still a very, very good rate. And we get a good chance to see why. The athleticism, the ability to get out on the move in space, to strike, square, and finish, has a road grader's mentality. I love Chase Lund's film. He should be a guy to know going into the 2025 NFL Draft. Another offensive lineman in this group is Boston College's Ozzie Trapillo. I first stumbled across Ozzie's film when I was looking at potential spring portal entrants for last year's spring portal before going into his final year at Boston College, and I was really enamored by the stuff that he had put together on film. Had a really big 2024, was not charged with a single penalty via PFF. We see the ability to sit and anchor against power and push. He's a good athlete, big-bodied, should be a fast rising name in this offensive line cycle for 2025. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, we have Oregon defensive tackle Jamari Caldwell. Now, we signed Jamari out of JUCO at the University of Houston, where he was with us for 2 years before transferring to Oregon for his final year, and it's been a ton of fun watching Jamari's ascension. He's done a great job reshaping his body, continuing to get into great shape, and you will be hard-pressed to find a better combination of size/mass and twitch, even in a pretty loaded defensive tackle class, and you see it here, it's on great display. He's got really good range just to be even in position to make a tough tackle on a really good running back. He is going to be a name to know, even in a loaded defensive tackle class. Staying along the defensive line, we have Boston College edge Donovan Ezeraku, who much like his teammate Trapillo, really caught my eye when looking at potential spring portal entrants before this past season. Ezeraku exploded in 2024 behind a combination of length, lateral athleticism, overall movement skills. We see the cross chop here. He's traitsy, he's got length, he's got athleticism. That packaging should help create a productive Sunday player and someone I'm really excited to see how he does in the pre-draft process and once he enters the league. Last of the bunch is UCLA linebacker Kane Medrano. And no, he's not that UCLA linebacker that you've heard about and will continue to hear about throughout this pre-draft process. And he's someone whose grade predominantly falls between late day 3 to undrafted free agent. He has a history of missed tackles that are really going to knock him down. He's got a handful of other questions in terms of play strength and ability to defend the run at the point, some of those things. But his athletic profile, with what he's shown in track and field in the past, what we see on film from an athletic standpoint, he's a really, really intriguing and interesting player who I think might have the ability to carve out a role in special teams early that could keep him around on rosters and should make him a fun player to track and follow. We see him there strike, shed, get in the backfield, make a play on the ball. Obviously, we'd like to see him stay on his feet, but overall, a really good play, and I really am excited to see how Medrano's pre-draft process shakes out for him. Before we close this out, I wanted to highlight 4 honorable mentions. Oregon running back Jordan James, UCLA tight end Moliki Mataval, Virginia Tech defensive tackle Aeneas Peebles, and Western Kentucky cornerback Upton Stout. So thank you guys again for following along. I really appreciate your support. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any video ideas or anything that you would be curious to see, drop it in the comments. I would love to know. I look forward to making some more of these videos down the road, and I'm most importantly really excited for the 2025 NFL Draft and everything that comes with it. It should be a really fun draft, a really fun pre-draft process, and I look forward to seeing all of these guys get picked and start their NFL journeys.